Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Bo. And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Game of Thrones.
Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh, don't do it for him.
I'll just edit mine
Don't
out.
do it for him.
A Song of Ice and Fire podcast.
Thank God.
Happy
Jeff,
St.
you gotta learn
Patrick's.
it at some point.
I got it. No, I don't.
You can't just edit around that, Nelson. You have to leave that.
I think I like Ice and Fire. Oh, no, it is Ice and Fire. Fuck. I was going to say
It is Ice.
I like that better than Fire and Ice. Maybe I like Fire and Ice better. George was
Fire and
wrong
Ice
there.
is
No,
like
you
the
don't.
icy
Fire
hot and Fire and Ice
is the
that
Robert Frost poem, right?
KY Jelly Fire and Ice.
Oh, you mean Trojan Condom.
Trojan condoms, that's it.
I don't know
no,
if it's
something
Fire and Ice.
sexual.
That's a topic for another time.
While we're here, the book series is based off of a Robert Frost poem called Fire and Ice.
So why is it a Song of Ice and Fire?
It's a short poem.
It's
I'll read it
based
quick.
off
Some
it.
say the
Yeah.
listen to the
I'll
poem.
listen.
It is. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. So what's the big threat in this one? Or in the books?
The White
Right, we
Walkers?
actually want to see it.
Fire and
Prologue.
ice.
Ooh.
The White Walkers.
Go figure.
The poem
Dragons.
is about how the world will be destroyed.
Dragons and...
There's no dragons.
Oh, yeah, none.
We're talking Danny 9. She's having fever dreams. She's waking up to all of her hopes and dreams being alive and well. Psych.
Yeah.
Pretty dark shit.
We got to go through the dream first.
Yeah, we gotta go through the dream.
Well, lucky for you guys, I already read the dream because I know you guys sometimes don't like to read the long ones. So any fans who don't want to listen to me reading the dream, go ahead and skip to about 6:35 if you don't want to listen to the dream. Here we go. Wings shadowed her fever dream. You don't want to wake the dragon, do you? She was walking down a long hall beneath high stone arches. She could not look behind her, must not look behind her. There was a door ahead of her, tiny with distance, but even from afar, she saw that it was painted red. She walked faster, and her bare feet left bloody footprints on the stone. You don't want to wake the dragon, do you? She saw sunlight on the Dothraki Sea, the living plain, rich with the smells of earth and death. Wind stirred the grasses, and they rippled like water. Drogo held her in strong arms, and his hand stroked her sex and opened her and woke that sweet wetness that was his alone. And the stars smiled down on them, stars in the daylight sky. Home, she whispered as he entered her and filled her with his seed. But suddenly the stars were gone, and across the blue sky swept the great wings, and the world took flame. Don't want to wake the dragon, do you? Sir Jorah's face was drawn and sorrowful. Rhaegar was the last dragon, he told her. He warmed translucent hands over a glowing brazier where stone eggs smoldered red as coals. One moment he was there, and the next he was fading, his flesh colorless, less substantial than the wind. The last dragon, he whispered, thin as a wisp, and he was gone. She felt the dark behind her, and the red door seemed further away than ever. Don't want to wake the dragon, do you? Viserys stood before her, screaming, The dragon does not beg, slut! You do not command the dragon. I am the dragon, and I will be crowned. The molten gold trickled down his face like wax, burning deep channels in his flesh. I am the dragon, and I will be crowned, he shrieked, and his fingers snapped like snakes, biting at her nipples, pinching, twisting, even as his eyes burst and ran like jelly down seared and blackened cheeks. Don't want to wake the dragon. The red door was so far ahead of her, she could feel the icy breath behind, sweeping up on her. If it caught her, she would die a death that was more than death. Howling forever alone in the darkness, she began to run. Don't want to wake the dragon. She could feel the heat inside her, a terrible burning in her womb. Her son was tall and proud, with Drogo's copper skin and her own silver gold hair, violet eyes shaped like almonds. And he smiled for her and began to lift his hands towards her. But when he opened his mouth, the fire poured out. She saw his heart burning through his chest. And in an instant, he was gone, consumed like a moth by a candle, turned to ash. She wept for her child, the promise of a sweet mouth on her breast, but her tears turned to steam as they touched her skin. want to wake the dragon. Ghosts lined the hallway, dressed in faded remnant of kings. In their hands were swords of pale fire. They had hair of silver and hair of gold and hair of platinum white, and their eyes were opal and amethyst, tourmaline and jade. Faster, they cried. Faster, faster. She raced, her feet melting the stone wherever they touched. Faster, the ghost cried as one, and she screamed and threw herself forward. A great knife of pain ripped down her back, and she felt her skin tear open and smelled the stench of burning blood and saw the shadow of wings. And Daenerys Targaryen flew. Wake the dragon. The door loomed before her. The red door, so close, so close. The hall was a blur around her, the cold receding behind, and now the stone was gone, and she flew across the Dothraki Sea, high and higher, the green rippling beneath, and all that lived and breathed fled in terror from the shadow of her wings. She could smell home. She could see it, there, just beyond that door. Green fields, great stone houses and arms to keep her warm. There, she threw open the door. The dragon. And saw her brother Rhaegar, mounted on a stallion as black as his armor. Fire glimmered red through the narrow eye slits of his helm. The last dragon, Sir Jorah's voice whispered faintly. The last. The last. Dany lifted his polished black visor. The face within was her own. After that, for a long time, there was only the pain, the fire within her, and the whispering of stars. She woke to the taste of ashes. But let's go through. I have a summary here. So it starts off, wings shattered her fever dream. So there's like a something flying overhead. And the whole time there's like this repetition. Like the entire dream goes to the repetition of you don't want to wake the dragon. And like it repeats itself a couple times. Each time there's like some scene, right, in between normally. And then this phrase eventually shortens the whole way to just wake the dragon at the end. Or just the dragon.
I think the dragon.
Just the dragon, yeah.
Do you think it's Viserys saying it in her ear?
It doesn't say that.
Right, I'm just saying.
It just says she kept hearing it.
Someone's got to be saying it.
He is the one who kept saying it.
Either her or somebody else. So
he's the one who kept saying it throughout his life.
Just a disembodied voice. It might be in his voice. I would see it being in his, I think.
That's what I was
saying.
Yeah,
it makes sense, but it makes sense, but it doesn't say it. I noticed that they didn't say it. Kyle, do you want to go through it?
I think we should go through it piece by piece, quickly.
I think we should let Kyle go through it, and then anything Kyle doesn't touch on, we'll touch on
That
later.
works, yeah.
That way we don't lead into anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kyle
I think we should just give a quick summary. Like the first one, there's a door in front of her, and it's red.
Yeah, she's running down a long hallway. There's the red door far ahead, and her feet are bleeding. Mm-hmm. She sees the Dothraki Sea, and Khal Drogo's holding her and fucking her, and she whispers home. She sees wings far off, and then everything starts burning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, this is all the her childhood home, pretty much. The red door is what I'm seeing here. So I don't know when to drop the biggest bomb I think that I have here, but they're already talking about the red door. But so like, who else? Wasn't Ned always talking about this red door too, with Lyanna and the dream, the tower?
No,
I think that had a red door too, didn't it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
She's brought up a red door before. Daenerys.
She talks about the red door. She talks about the red door multiple times. Yeah.
Well, then I don't. Maybe my bomb is fizzling out here.
So what she mentions, I'll say this: it's early in the first book. She says that the red door is where she remembers her and Viserys living.
Yeah, it was home.
In Bravos.
Yeah, that's all she remembered about home.
In Bravos, basically after they left. Yeah, because she was an baby infant when she left Dragonstone, so she doesn't even remember
Bravos
that.
It's across the Narrow Sea.
Basically straight across the Narrow Sea from Pentos is just south of that. There's a bunch of cities that are on the coast.
All right.
Is there a world map in the front or no?
Is it a sphere or flat?
I don't think it's the whole thing like that, Glow. No, it's not. It's just the north and south.
All right.
Yeah, but so she has this. That's like, it's basically where her first memories are from, where she was in this house in Bravos with a red door and there's a lemon tree outside.
Yeah.
And she
for some reason I thought that was part of Ned's dream with Lyanna as well.
I don't know if Dany's dreamt of it at all, but she's like mentioned it a few times. Like it reminded her of like when she was barefoot in the Dothraki Sea.
You're gonna argue with me over the semantics here, like she's talking about her imagining this door and stuff, and her memory of this door.
I got you. I'm just telling you where you've heard it before. I'm serious. Yeah. I don't think Ned said anything about a red door.
All right.
All right. So moving on, and the next person is Jorah.
Yep.
And what does he say?
He's saying that Rhaegar was the last dragon.
Yep. Right. And he fades away, colorless.
Yeah, he's like warming his hands over a brazier where the eggs are, and then he fades away, and then don't want to wake the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Viserys, I think, is next.
Yeah, he's screaming at her. He's like, you can't command me. I'm in charge, pretty much.
you will get me a crown, and the gold's like melting his face.
He's like screaming while he's literally getting melting,
Mm-hmm.
and then like his fingers are snapping at her nipples like snakes.
That was kind of weird.
Then it starts talking about the red door again. She says like she's almost further from it, and there's icy. She could feel the icy breath behind her, and knew if it caught her, she would die a death that was more than death. She feels something in her womb, and then she sees her
A
son,
tall ass
right?
born Rhaegar, right?
Yeah, she assumes it's her son because he looks like
Blonde
both
hair and
her
then
Khal.
Khal Drogo skin and almond-shaped eyes with violet color.
And then his heart burned through his chest.
Yep, he bursts into ashes, and she cries for him, and all her tears burn or steam when they get on her cheeks.
And one little note here: it goes from "don't want to wake the dragon" to "want to wake the dragon."
All they drop is a don't, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely like her.
So I actually didn't think about this before, but she's saying like she's getting further from the door, right? And it's getting colder. Is that
Didn't
when
she say though?
That's what she was saying that
she
before.
did say the door's getting further away.
Right? She's like the red door is so far ahead, and she could feel
Seemed
the icy
further
breath
away than
behind her.
ever. Yeah.
And then is that when it switches? Does she start getting closer to it? Is when the don't
no,
gets
it's
dropped?
right after the next paragraph with Rhaegar is when the don't.
So
gets
after
dropped.
the don't gets dropped, she sees the ghosts line the
Yep,
hallway.
yep.
They had pale fire, silver hair, purple eyes, so they all kind of look like her.
Yep.
Telling her to go faster, and she runs, and the stones are melting underneath her. That's when she throws herself through the door, right?
No, that's when she turns into a dragon.
Yeah, she turns into a
Oh yeah,
dragon.
she
wings
feels
spread.
Her back rips open
wings
and
come-
wings pop
Yeah.
out.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right, so she gets to the door, and she's over the sea now, and she's flying the Dothraki sea,
Dothraki
not the
sea.
Not the
grass
actual
sea,
sea.
not the actual sea. And she could smell home, and she could see it just beyond that door. So she's not even through it yet, and but
throws
she can
open
see
the door.
through it. It's green fields and great
it's a
stone
dream,
houses.
so like it doesn't really make sense.
And she threw open
Yeah.
the door. The dragon.
And she sees Rhaegar.
Then she sees Rhaegar on a black horse in black armor and fire burning in his eye slits. And then she hears Jorah again saying that he's the last dragon. Dany lifts the visor.
Boom.
It was her
Yeah, it's
face
her.
there the whole time.
She's the last dragon.
Then just the pain and the fire within her and the whispering of stars. And she wakes with the taste of ashes in her mouth. Kyle, anything on the dream before we keep going?
I mean, so like a lot of what I already had prepared was obviously wrong because I was connecting two things that weren't connected. So I'm a lot more lost than I was, I guess, before. But I mean, it's kind of just going through like her life and her fight to live is pretty much what it is, I would say here.
One thing that I'll say that a lot of people say about the dream is it almost starts off as if it like follows her story so far. Again, a lot of stuff isn't super chronological. Her with Drogo, and then Jorah saying the Rhaegar thing, and then Viserys being a dick. Like those things can kind of be like moved around, and it all kind of makes sense. But then it almost goes into a future that never happens with her fake son, and then that's when shit starts going weird, right? But the first part up until then is like. It's
So
almost
it's more
like
than
realistic.
it's more than a dream, and I mean that's kind of the rest of this here is like it's kind of she's stuck between life and death is where she's at. So these are like the ghosts, I would say, more than a dream. That makes sense.
That makes sense. The shadows entered her and were
Yeah.
fucking with her head.
Oh,
Well,
I see.
not even that so much. Like just like she's stuck in that astral plane, if there is one in between life and death. You know what I'm saying? Like the limbo.
Where your life flashes
and so-
ahead of your eyes, and
so everybody.
Where the light is.
Yeah, and so the darkness is chasing her the whole time, right? And that's death. Like so, this is her moment to either choose
she gets
the
just
will
like,
to live,
yeah, I agree
or
with
to
that.
choose to die. And so like that's how I read all this at least, and it was like kind of her learning from her own life. in the terms of like Viserys and shit. What was I talking about? Yeah, I mean everything we went through before, Viserys and Drogo and all that. Just like her awakening, her inner awakening, wake the dragon. You know, like fuck all this. Like I can do this. I'm in charge now. Like you've woken the dragon.
So do you think her? Because you said
dragon.
it like her being the last dragon. Do you think it's like just metaphorically, like, oh, I can lead? Is that what you're kind of saying there?
I'm saying, well, first off, I'm saying she has dragons, like the eggs here. So like that's one thing, but like I just think she's gonna rule on her own to some degree. Like I think she's, and that's kind of where it goes towards the end of this, where she's like, I'm gonna make every fucking one of these people pay that did all this awful shit after Cal died.
Well, two. There's only two. That's only two people. But
yeah, but I think
we'll talk about that later. But
yeah.
All right, so she kind of like wakes up ish.
So one thing I want to ask you guys, because you just looked through the actual text, I just have my summary here. Later on in this chapter, she starts saying like, "If I look back, I'm lost."
Mm-hmm.
A lot. Like she says that to herself like a ton of times in like the last like few pages.
Right.
Does that happen at all in the dream?
No.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, she might not say that per se, but it's definitely, she's like, I can feel it behind me.
I don't think she straight out says if I look back.
She could not look behind her.
Okay.
Must not look behind her.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
So she doesn't use the exact same words, but she references not looking back.
Cool. Yep. You're both right. I thought one of you guys was going to be super wrong, but you're actually both right.
Good work, boys.
All right. So, Glow, take us into the chapter. What's going on?
So she wakes up and she starts like immediately like crawling towards well, she says first her voice is really dry and really hurts. And Jaqui's there. And then she says she wants help, and then she says bring me, and then she can't talk anymore. And then Jaqui runs out of the place. It's like, all right, I got to go get her some stuff. And then she starts crawling towards like the eggs, it sounds like. But before she could get there, I believe it's...
and Jiqui's crying. Did you say this? Jiqui's crying when she wakes up?
Oh, yeah, Jaqui was crying. But she also almost immediately ran out. But she brings back Jorah, who picks her up basically and takes her back down. And then they bring in Maz-Dor. I forget if they give her any water first or not. Like trips of water.
They give her some
but then
drink.
Sour. She tasted sour milk and something else, something thick and bitter.
A thick and bitter drink, yeah. And then she falls asleep, like knocks her out again.
Maz-Dor basically gave her milk of the poppy, right? Basically, kind of.
Something. I would assume something like that.
Something like that.
It's kind of weird how she wakes up and she's like, bring me, and I have to, but she's like not saying anything with it. Like,
the obvious thing she's missing is her kid, right? Like she just gave birth and she has basically forgets that for the first like 2 or 3 times since she's waking up.
I feel like that's the obvious thing, but I feel like that's not where her head's at.
Obviously, she's crawling towards the eggs and shit.
Right.
So she's thinking these eggs, but the thing that she should be thinking is clearly like
where's my baby? Where's my husband? Like,
or the ritual. Yeah, the last chapter was this crazy ritual we just put on for my husband. Where the fuck's he at?
I think she's looking for the eggs, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what.
Right.
She's just in the astral plane, dude. Her fucking mind's fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like I think this is her understanding that there is more to these eggs as well.
It's just crazy. Like Nelson said, like you just had this whole deal with the baby and Drogo. And
well, how does she understand that? What made her understand that? Just the astral plane, you're saying? Again,
like everything that was happening.
This weird.
She was flying like a dragon. Like she burst wings out of her. Like she is the blood of the dragon. Like I think it's like the internal, like it's connected, and she's waking up the dragon inside of her, and she's like it's understanding that it's been right in front of her. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm reading way too much into this.
No, I got you. Yeah.
All I gotta say is I agree. Everything you're saying.
Like I think that's I don't think she's worried about her kid at this point. I think she's honestly wholly worried about these eggs.
What I was saying, okay, yeah. What I was saying was like you're with this dream, right? It's from the dream, is what I was trying to get you to say. It's like her dream. I think
it's beyond a dream. Like so, like I think even calling it a dream is wrong. They burst into this tent where this ritual was going on between where this lady was dancing and they say something about it like this dance between life and death is happening. They're literally bringing somebody back from the dead pretty much. And like So the portal between two worlds was open, is what I'm getting at. So I think
We
she
don't
was
know.
in.
I agree, but so let's say we don't. So I agree with everything you just said, but we don't know how long Dany's been out, right?
But I'm going to argue with you anyway.
She's been out for a while. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm just asking, like, how long has she been out? Because the only one thing that I think we really can judge it on is when she sees Drogo, his scar is healed, and it was pretty fucked up the last time she saw it. I think that's the only thing we can really go on, right? How long? It takes a pretty long time, for, like a week or 2 weeks at least.
You think that happened? That wasn't part of
Yeah,
this
like
ritual?
didn't the magic help heal his wounds?
I don't know. That along with the fact that like when they said that like other Kalazar started breaking off, they said like 2 happened immediately, but like
it was
others
a couple
happened
days.
over
Yeah,
a
I
couple
guess you're
days.
right. Yeah.
So I was thinking it's not like a day or 2. Like she's been out for like I'm thinking at least a week, but maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
So maybe it was a dream at that point, but I think she was maybe reliving that night.
Well, no, I'm saying astral plane. I'm saying if it's a week, that
If
lends
you're in
more
the
to
astral plane
than
I think,
dream.
yeah, time moves
Yeah,
slower
exactly.
there.
That's like when you're in the upside down, right? Doesn't like time go different when you're in the upside down?
I don't
Who
think
knows?
so.
It does when you're in Helheim and God of War.
If you're talking about Stranger Things, I think it moves like at the same time.
I think you're right though. Okay, but whatever. I agree with what Kyle said. Did you have anything? I cut you off. Do you have anything else to say? I think you.
Well, I guess maybe what I was saying was that maybe even if it is a dream, I think it's her dreaming of her experience she had there. If you want to get literal with she was dreaming, blah 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 blah, fever dreams.
Yeah, my thing was more that I've always thought of it more of just like a straight dream. I never thought of it that way, but that makes a whole lot of sense. And the whole fact that if she's been out this long, that lends more. I think lends more towards what you're saying than what I'm saying.
Fair enough. I think you're kind of assigning a strange rule to this astral plane that it goes slower and nobody knows. I guess that's what I'm getting at. There's no way to guarantee that.
I thought it
Could've
was
been
just
one-
a dream, to be honest, but like,
One night of the
Cool. Yeah, fair enough.
but I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
No one
I
knows.
usually read this not with so much as a fine tooth comb as definitely not
Yeah,
Nelson.
obviously.
And
I don't think I've ever read a book like this.
yeah.
All right, so next part, she wakes up again. She calls for handsmaids to get some water. I think nothing really happens, right? She gets water. She's like, how long have I been out? And Eerie says long.
Mhm.
That's the other thing. Eerie just tells her long is the only thing she says, which isn't a number, but... And Eerie looked frightened and runs. And again, they're probably like frightened because no one wants to break the bad news to her that her kid's dead, because all the handmaids are getting out of her sight basically ASAP. And she goes and comes back with Miri again, and instead she gives her wine, sweet wine instead of water, and she just passes out again. And she asks for an egg.
She
right?
says eggs, I think. Oh no, she
Dragon's
dragon's egg. Just one egg.
Bring me egg. Yeah.
Bring me egg.
I offer you an egg.
Yep. Oh, Jeff, this is what you were talking about, so go ahead.
Yeah, so then she ends up waking up a third time, and she's holding one of the eggs, which is the palish
cream.
white cream one with some gold hints, and
Buttermilk.
she could feel heat in it. And her bed silk's just kind of radiating from the egg, which isn't the first time she's felt heat from the eggs, but maybe it's a little stronger. I don't know.
I mean, she's sweating here, it says.
but she's also had a fever.
Yep. So then the weird thing is she goes over and stands next. Well, then whenever she sees that her fever's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, okay, this time her fever's gone. Sorry.
Danny
I think
touched
she
her
can
brow
tell-
under the film of sweat. Her skin was cool to the touch.
Was
I
she
don't think
called
you can tell your
Dragon
own-
Dew or something? Her
Yeah.
sweat. That was kind of a cool term.
Dragon Dew, she thought. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's probably just like sweat, right?
Yeah.
So then she said, so her fever probably broke, right? Don't you just like sweat when your fever break, or your sweat?
Yeah, right. When you sweat it out, you get so
Yeah.
hot that you just sweat out your sickness. And
The weird thing is, right, there's a part where they say, like, Jorah and somebody else comes in, and she's standing over the other ones, and she says the other ones are just as warm as this one, which is weird, because, okay, yeah, if I had a fever and I'm with this one, maybe it's warm, while the other one's warm, but Jorah says it's not warm, it's just cold as stone.
yeah, right before Jorah comes in though and says that, she feels a little bit of a deep ache between her thighs. She has yet to think of her fucking kid yet.
Well, she also feels the rumble in the egg, right? Like something moves in the
Mhm.
egg.
I mean, some crazy shit just happened to her, Jeff. I think crazier than having a kid.
No, I can't. I
She
can't
danced-
accept that. I can't accept that.
Going to
She
the
was
astral
between-
plane, dude, and living another world
You've carried this kid around for months.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm with Jeff. I always thought this was way more just a dream than astral plane thing. I can see it's maybe a little of both, but I never saw that like this.
She's woken up multiple times knowing she was pregnant and had no fucking thought of this kid.
When she woke up, she's been up for like 20 seconds at a time,
but she's thought of the eggs multiple times.
Completely feverish and delirious.
And never thought of her husband or her fucking baby.
Feverish and delirious. She was still basically in the astral plane when she woke up.
Fuck this astral plane bullshit.
Again, I don't know about that.
Still living in the dream when she woke up.
There's some weird magic shit that happened for sure, but I think I've always thought of this as way more of just a dream, which makes it. And then when you think of it that way,
what do you think happened when they came into the tent? Then explain to me that.
Jorah's not fucked up right now. That's the thing. Is like Jorah's not fucked up.
They bring up Jorah is fucked up. Jorah is fucked up.
He doesn't look great, but he also took an air act to the hip, so he has a right to be fucked up.
He's fucked up.
He took an air act to the hip, to the bone.
And he's denying all this shit.
They literally bring up the thing, the shadows got to you too, and he's
like, I'm not fucking talking about it. Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Listen. At this point, let's just say this third time she's waking up, and she's with it enough that she knows her fever broke. She can walk over and feel the eggs. She knows she has a little bit of an aching in her thighs. Nothing about your fucking baby. Like, grow up. Come on.
She's 14.
Okay, we might cross some lines here. I don't know what it looks like down there after a baby's come out, but it's pretty fucking wrecked, right? Like, it's fucked up for like a decent amount of time.
It can rip to their asshole, and they need stitches.
It's not good.
She should know.
She says later when she's walking, like just walking around trying to like take care of Drogo, she says it hurts to walk.
Baby.
It was a demon baby. It still came out, and she should still be like, fuck, I'm awake. Where's my baby?
We need to get rolling with this. This is going to be a long podcast.
I'm on the other side there. I think you're...
You think it's okay that she doesn't give a fuck about her kid?
Yeah, 100%.
You're crazy.
What do the viewers think? Leave it in the comments below.
I think this is a crazier experience than anything anybody... And it was like forced upon her. She was like thrown into this tent where this crazy magic ritual was going on that the lady said, don't anybody else fucking come in here. It has dire consequences. She comes in there and then gets teleported or whatever fucking happens to her. And then it knocks her out for weeks at end.
We don't know
you're
that.
Thinking she's going to wake up and immediately understand where she is and immediately understand that she had a child.
Totally 100% cognitive.
Yeah, because she thinks about her fucking stone eggs right now. Absolutely.
Because that was what she was dreaming about. That was all part of the dream.
No, she dreamed about the fucking kid. She dreamed about Drogo. She dreamed about Jorah. She asked for Jorah before she asked for her fucking kid. Don't give me that excuse when she asked for other people.
Turn it into a dragon, wake the dragon the whole way through the fucking dream.
You're not going to convince me on that. She asked for 4 different things before her fucking baby, which is just absurd.
I'm going to mention something else that's going to just, I think, potentially lend some credence to Jeff's side. She's already had 2 dreams, not this crazy, but about dragons and like scary dreams where Viserys is yelling, "Don't wake the dragon." She's had them twice, in already in the book. One in the first one, right before she marries Khal Drogo, and then one maybe before she eats the dragon or the horse heart. She's had 2 dreams where Viserys.
What did she do after the first one or the second?
After the first one,
she had the eggs. After the second one, she had the eggs. Didn't she go over to the eggs? Probably.
But I'm saying that wasn't caused by her walking.
She wasn't pregnant, and she didn't have a baby taken out of her body.
No. The point is those 2 dreams weren't caused by any weird magic ritual that she walked in on. That's what I'm saying. Is that she's had similar dreams again, not nearly to this extent, but she's had similar dreams in this vein before the 10th thing.
I think it's extremely evident that Jeff has not experimented with psychedelic drugs in any way, shape, or form.
How about this quote right here? A flagon of water, cold as you can find it, and fruit, I think. Dates. She thinks about fucking fruit and water before she thinks about her fucking child. So I won't take any other excuses about this astroplane bullshit if you can think about wanting dates for fucking lunch after you wake up and not about your fucking kid. Rest my case.
I mean, generally,
she's hungry,
it's like
bro.
Food and water are pretty...
There was no mention of dates in the dream either, so...
It's a solid point. That's a solid point.
Food and water are pretty typical somebody needs.
I think we're probably both a little bit right. And again, I don't know if fighting about's anything. I'm excited to see if anybody comments about it. And
she hasn't even thought of her baby yet, or
that's
her
obviously
husband.
fucked up. And she's
who the whole fucking astro plane thing was to save her fucking husband.
And she ruined it.
Where'd we leave off?
Going into the tent.
Where'd we leave off?
All right, where do we go?
All right, so they bring Ser Jorah back in. They field the eggs, and she finally thinks about the fucking kid.
Yeah.
Why has she not remembered the child until now? My son, Rhaegar, where is he? I want him.
Yep.
So it only took you fucking forever.
And memory came back to her all at once. Come on, dude. She didn't have it. She wasn't right in the mind for a little bit there.
Yeah, well, she needed a date or two, I guess. Fucking joke.
It's all funny. It's funny. I mean, that's actually a fair point to like everything you've said. If she has been asleep for like a week, she might just need nourishment before she can think straight. That's like the most logical thing you said. It doesn't have anything to do with astral planes.
I mean, even if you don't want to call it the fucking astral plane, like, I'm not married to that term, but like, whatever you want to call it, like, she was.
You're not gonna get me off this. I won't.
That's what I'm saying. I stand by my prior statement. That's what I stand by.
So I stand by.
No more debating. I'm on Kyle's side. No more debating it.
Yeah. I'm on Jeff's side.
Nelson's somewhere in the middle.
Side. The fans are gonna. Yeah, the fans. I'm on Jeff's side, but the fans are gonna dispute it. I see. Both
I just
sides.
won. Every female is gonna be with me. What's up?
Why?
Because it's just a motherly instinct. You wake up and you wake up and you would be like, "Fuck, where's Luke?" I know you would.
Yeah, of course. Luke's
yeah. All right. So moving on.
Babies don't sleep with their moms. I guess they do in their bellies.
Yeah. Good.
What?
And, dude, like the first fucking year they sleep with next to their fucking kid. All right. Well, they tell her that the boy didn't make it. So she was like, "Oh shit, my son's dead."
I think it's funny how all the handmaids try and run away.
Drogo's alive.
They all just like dip. They're like, Drogo's alive and dips. And then she's like, I'll bring Jorah and dips. And like, no one wants to tell Dany what the deal is.
Yeah.
Even Jorah.
She grabs Uria or something, right?
The Lyseni girl?
Yeah, and asks about Rhaegar.
Oh no, yeah.
She just says that she didn't
Let
live.
me just tell you that everybody's afraid of her because some really fucked up shit just happened the other night. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with that for sure.
Jess just acting like she went to bed and then woke up and forgot about her baby.
I know that some crazy shit happened in that tent, but you're not going to tell me that she wakes up and thinks about dates before she thinks of her kid when she's been carrying it around for 9 months. I just won't agree with you there because of whatever.
I think she's awake a little bit. I think part of it is maybe I think she's awake a little bit longer than you guys. Like, maybe I'm totally wrong because in a Khalasar, I'm thinking big Khalasar. When you're like, go get Jorah, it takes a while. But when there's only 100 fucking people outside, it doesn't take that long. You just walk outside.
He's probably the tent next door. Yeah,
yeah.
He's not far. I'm not saying she's awake the whole time, but
we're debating this, and I don't think it really matters too much, regardless of what it is. Whatever was in that dream astro plane.
It definitely doesn't matter too much, but it's just something that grinds my gears.
Let's keep going. So Jarrett. She finally gets it out of Jikwi that her kid's dead.
Mm-hmm. And Ser Jorah and Mir Mazdor come back in.
Yeah. And
the women say...
This is when they actually feel the fucking stone.
And hold on. And Dany said that she knew the whole time that Rhaegar was dead. From the time she woke the first time and Jikwi was crying. That's why I pointed out that Jikwi was crying when she woke up the first time.
Because she saw her dead son.
Jikwi did.
Fucking limbo.
For sure. Jikwi did. Jikwi saw this fucking little rat motherfucker baby came out. For sure. Jikwi knew.
That was her.
You think so?
That was her.
Probably. Jikwi definitely saw the thing. Yeah, you're right.
For sure. Yeah. But they like took her into the tent, right?
I don't think Jorah did though. Oh no,
Jikwi might not have. Seeing the deformed
demon baby.
I don't think it was that deformed.
What?
I'm not buying that story.
You don't think so?
In this whole astro plane world where shit's going on and life and death, we don't believe in the demon baby?
I guess if Mir Mazdor is the only one that delivers it, I always assumed that
she's the only one in there.
Yeah, but when Jorah says the women say, it always made me think that somebody had to see it besides Mir.
Somebody had to see it, right?
That's what I always thought. But
I would assume Jorah stayed in there.
Based on the position of the characters at the end of the last chapter, that's not a fact by any means, right? All we have is Jorah, Dany, and Miri in a tent. Jorah dips.
I would think Jikwi would hop in there too to help out.
Dude, I don't think she goes. I don't think anybody fucking goes
after
in
the
tent.
shadows cool down.
The problem is we have no idea what goes on in the tent.
I don't know, dude.
I think Jorah carries her into the tent. he stays. I don't know.
He said he only saw her alone, dancing in the shadows.
Dancing with shadows.
With the shadows, yeah.
As he entered, though, not afterwards.
I'm telling. I think she was the only one in there. I don't know.
The shit they were saying at the end of the last chapter made it seem like there was some fucked up shit going in there. Like there was multiple people in there. So what do you mean?
It was the shadows.
The
Yeah.
shadows. Okay.
That's the spirits that she's letting.
Gotcha. I thought I was confused.
No, I'm saying like
I thought you meant like Miri was
women.
faking everything for a second there, but I was like, you believe in this astral plane thing, but also that there's nothing going on except for Miri dancing.
No, I'm just saying I don't know that it came out as a demon. I don't know. And I don't know if I believe 100%. Miri's kind of.
I'm thinking Sir Jorah stayed. I'm thinking Jorah stayed.
I don't think Jorah did. I don't think Jorah saw the baby.
He might have blacked out after he dropped her off.
Yeah, he might have just passed out too. Like if they were both, him and
the
Dany
problem is we don't know. We don't know if they all stayed. We don't know if the whole fucking Khalasar ran into the tent afterwards.
Jorah might have had this fucking crazy dream about running down the fucking hall with bears chasing him and shit. You know, you never know.
Maybe he was pregnant for 9 months and thought about his kid. Maybe he thought about the baby when he woke up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you don't know about some of this shit, but.
I mean, I always assumed, and I know it does sound a little fucking wild, but I was like, the baby. I think when I watched the show, like I was like, come on, that baby didn't come out as a fucking demon, but maybe it did come out as a demon. I don't know. I read it. I don't know. Why not? Why not with all the fucking shadows coming around? And
yeah, reading it, I definitely thought so, just because the way they set up with Jorah not wanting to say anything. Like Jiqui already told her he was dead, so Dany knows that. So why? What does Jorah not want to tell her? Like why can't he say? I mean,
Miri, because he killed her. He killed the baby.
Yeah, you're right.
By bringing it into the tent. He's so fucked up from that, and from what he saw in there. I don't know that it was really. I think maybe she was assigning this to the baby, that it was monstrous, and like I don't know that it was actually fucked up, but I think she, like in her, maybe it wasn't actually fucked up looking, but that's how she saw it. Does that make sense? Like if she's traveling through the pain and she can see what it actually is that it's one of these ghouls or whatever coming out of.
So she says some shit about him later too, right? So I'll read the quote that Miri says: "Monstrous." Miriam has. I feel like I should make her evil just because of this chapter, but I feel like her voice up to then has been like pretty nice healer lady.
Yeah, like old lady, but definitely go evil vibes this time.
Monstrous. Miri Mazder finished for him. The knight was a powerful man, yet Dany understood in that moment the Meiji was stronger and crueler and infinitely more dangerous. Twisted. I drew him forth myself. He was scaled like a lizard, blind, with the stub of a tail and small leather wings like the wings of a bat. When I touched him, the flesh slothed off the bone, and inside he was full of grave worms and the stink of corruption. He had been dead for years.
That's all kind of weird. So
that doesn't even seem possible. And Dany's first comeback is I felt him kick like 5 seconds before what you're saying happened.
I think she's kind of talking bullshit. But again, like this fucking death tent astroplane world could have really fucked with this baby. Where's the body? Where's the baby's body?
That's what, like Jiqui had to see it. Like
that's why I always assumed it. It's because like no matter what, like she has to come out of the even if she's in the tent alone, she has to come out with something, right?
What's in the middle of the tent, baby? Fire.
Yeah, maybe they burned it. I don't.
Just burn the baby.
I bet she threw it in there, man.
But one, she doesn't even ask to see.
It's probably sacrificial.
She doesn't even ask to see like the remains, so we don't know.
It's part of this ritual.
Life paid for death.
Life.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't hate
the
that.
brazier was obviously part of the ritual.
I don't hate that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think it was that fucked up. I think she knew what she was doing here, and Miri kind of had that whole back story here of like they burned my fucking church. I hated these people. I was gonna get them back.
So that's weird, and we're gonna get into that. She fixed Drogo in her church.
Yeah, and then they burned it down.
They burned it afterwards.
No, it was burning while they were in it, wasn't it?
I
forget.
They were like, I think they were chilling outside it, like it was totally fine. They went in, healed her, and then like when the chapter ends, that church is still good.
No, I thought it was burning. I thought they were sitting outside and it was like smoldering or something. And then they, she's like, the only place I can heal him is inside the church because that was where the power was.
I think that's where her equipment was. like her healing.
I'm not sure, but I for some reason I mean it makes sense that it would be burning. I don't know why. Honestly, I have no idea why it wouldn't be. It makes no sense that it wouldn't be burning. But for some reason I don't think it was burning. But
maybe not.
Sure.
Maybe they burned it after. I mean, it's very
which
possible.
is super fucked up. Which is even more fucked up to burn. Which
pretty.
But also, I don't think.
Up,
I don't think they would have any qualms doing that. So either way, I don't think.
Right
one of those
there,
things that doesn't really matter, but fucked up either way. So Dany's like, "What the fuck? I thought I'm kicking. You're full of shit." And she's like, "Yeah, that might be true, but that's what happened." And that's when Jorah objects and says, "Like, no, all that was in there." She says something crazy, right? Like.
No, he says only shadows.
Yeah.
Yet the creature that came forth from your womb was, as I said, death was in that tent. And he says, only shadows. I saw Magi. I saw you alone dancing with the shadows. Yeah, the grave cast long shadows, Iron Lord. Long and dark, and in the end, no light can hold them back.
Yeah, that's
like
dope.
I said, there's...
Also, you're right. Him calling her, she did it a few times in the chapter. I'm like, that is a badass name that I never really noticed before. Her calling him Iron Lord is dope.
Didn't they all call him that? Metal Man or something? Or I forget what
they called him something else. But I think she
Dressers.
called him Iron Lord or something like that.
I don't know.
And I always thought that it was cool that she called Dany Silver Lady, but the fact that she calls Jorah Iron Lord is way cooler.
And they call her Sheep Fucker.
Yeah, something like that. This is when Dany starts thinking to herself that it's Jorah's fault. Like she's not mad at Jorah because he did everything like
she would have probably died without Jorah taking her in the tent.
But it was his fault that the kid died
for sure.
Like because like we're all saying the tent had something to do with it. But
on the
other hand,
it wasn't though.
If he never takes her in and she says death pays for life.
There we go.
Whose life is paying then? Is it the fucking horse? Would it have been fine if he doesn't take her in?
No.
Or would they have just fucking sucked the baby out from outside the tent?
Is that what
was that going to happen either way?
Yeah.
I think she was ended up in the tent either way, and I think she knew that.
Well, do you think that she could have taken the baby without her in the tent?
I don't know if I'm with that 100%, but at the time, right, in that chapter, what are Dany's options? None of the healers will come close to Dany. None of the birthing women will come close to Dany because she just agreed to this ritual. So the only birthing woman who will maybe talk to her is Miri. So her options are let her child die outside or let Miri do it, which we know now equates to the same thing. But like if she stayed outside and if she stays outside and her child dies, would Jorah still live because that's death in life? Or Kyle, are you saying that you need to throw it in this fire for her ritual and Miri just knew that she was coming in and she's going to throw this baby on a fire?
I think it was fated, man. That's where I'm at on that. I think she knew. Like, she knew that this was, like, the ritual caused the birth to start happening, and then...
Yeah, I agree with that,
pulled
Kyle.
her into the tent kind of thing. Like, I think it was all kind of foregone.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think the choice was there as much as you think it was, is all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, because what I was thinking was that the choice doesn't matter if the result's the same, which is kind of the case here. It doesn't matter if she goes in or not as long as her baby dies, because that's what Mary promised.
Now I follow what you're saying.
That's kind of what I was saying.
I agree with Kyle, though. It was like, oh, the baby's not in here right now. That's the life. Like, how do we get it in here? We need to pull it, you know?
Yeah. And the other thing that they're about to talk to is Miri basically, Dany's like, the fuck, you cheated me. I thought it was the horse. And Mary's like, no, you knew the whole time. And we talked about that last chapter.
I said that. That's what I said. Yeah, I said, fuck that. That shouldn't be. That's bullshit.
Because she even said, like, literally, like, when she falls down and starts going into labor, she says, like, the price is too high. Yeah. She, like, says that to herself. Mm-hmm. So it's like, obviously she knew what the fuck was going on. Whether she knew, like, when she agreed to the whole deal, like, before the horse got killed or everything, that's up for debate, but...
All right, are we on the Drogo now? She finally asked about her husband.
So again, this is where Dany starts saying like the whole like I can't look back, mm-hmm. and you're right, Jeff. She's like let me see what I paid for, and here she mentions what she paid with, because she says a few more people than Rhaegar.
Show me what I bought with my son's life.
Hago and Kaholo. I'm sure paid.
So I'm gonna do a little trivia here. I'm sure to Kyle, those people are just Dothraki guy. But let's see if Jeff or Glow can know who any of those people are. Or Kyle,
some of them were her guards, right?
Can you name them again?
Weren't they her?
Kaholo. was
her
like
like fake
guy.
blood
Kaholo
riders,
was
or
not her guy.
Kaholo is one of Rhaegar's guys, or
Drogo's
Drogo's
blood
guys.
riders.
Three
Okay.
of them are Drogo's guys.
Yeah, well, they were the ones
Okay.
that died in the fight out front of the tent.
Kotho,
Yeah.
Kotho, Hago, Kaloho. Well, and Karo. Karo is her guy.
Kaholo.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Kaholo did.
But I think some of them we didn't know if they died.
But they're
We
done.
knew that they got
I think
One got
most
an
of
arrow
them,
to the
yeah.
face. We know that guy
Hago
fucking
and
died.
Kaloho Hago got an Eric to. Yeah, they all actually all three of Drogo's guys we knew died. Karo we didn't know. He just got like a Eric to the underarm or something. But yeah, all dead. So that she starts to take her out, and that's when they start to have this conversation about what happened. So Dany goes outside. She sees basically now Dany's in the group of her Kaz who are remaining. Who's her remaining Kaz, Glow?
Ago,
Ago and
Ago,
Ricaro.
That's it.
Jogo. and her handmaids. Who are her handmaids? Kyle, who are her handmaids?
Jiqui,
Eerie, Dorea,
diarrhea. That's right.
Yep. Yeah, so
the whore. She's a
40,000 went to 100, and she got the worst of the 100 pretty much.
Yeah, it's people that were too sick or old.
The
to
people who
move.
were riding in the carts with Viserys, pretty much.
Yeah, they couldn't.
So now she's the cart queen, if we're being honest. She's the queen of all the cart people.
It all comes back to get you, Khaleesi.
But yeah, so and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Like,
and
where's Drogo's Khalasar? And you're like, hey, a cow who cannot ride is no cow. So what happened was Cal Pono, who was a co, and I think we said, didn't you say this last time? Like, he'd be the guy.
is a general. They're not a blood rider.
Co's would be the first ones
Co's are
that
generals. Yeah, Co's are pretty much generals.
a lot of people left with him. And then Jocko was not long. So there's a couple bands of Khalasars have broken off of Drogo's.
Both of those people were mentioned like very in passing previously, but like they were both in my notes already. Cal Pono and Jacko.
They say a dozen. I don't know if
say
it's
12.
actually a dozen or not.
Yeah, not all those, I don't know. But the only two that are named are Pono and Jacko.
Mhm.
But the important one, and not important, but Jacko is the one who had Mago. So do we know who Mago is?
Mago was the one that got pissed that he couldn't rape.
That's right, yeah.
Aroia.
Yeah,
Arrow.
they couldn't
So
rape.
I think he was actually the one that was raping Iroa
And he got
when
pulled off
they
or
ride up, and he gets pulled off, and then he's the one that comes up when they're outside later
with
at the
head
temple,
stack.
and
Yeah.
is like, "What the fuck? Look what she did!" And then Drogo's like, Dany talks back, and Drogo's like, "Damn, you're fierce. I don't care. Get out of here, Mago." Well, now
It's
Mago
it's
came
the
back to
boy
get his
inside
shit.
her making her angry or something.
it's just like
That's
he
what- that's
has a
what caused
connection to this girl.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, he has a connection to this girl. Is at the point, right?
Yeah,
And what happens to Iroa?
she gets raped a bunch
She
of
just
times
gets
and
passed
gets her
around.
throat slit.
One thing that I don't understand here, and actually I don't know if you guys are gonna know, but any fans who know, write in. They say that if we, without getting too gross, Mago has her,
Mhm.
then Jago has her, and then Jago gives her to the rest of his blood riders.
Six other people.
6 in total. 6. I think he said 6 in total. But
They
even if
were
it's
6.
They were 6, so I don't know. It's either 6 or 8. I'm gonna say 8.
Either way, I thought for some reason you could only have 3 blood riders. I thought it was like a fixed number, kind of like the Kingsguard. But is that totally? Am I just?
You would know more than that. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I think it's probably just whoever wants to volunteer for him.
I just thought it was because of Drogo you could only have 3, but I might be totally wrong.
I have no clue.
I don't know what else 6 in total or whatever could mean. So it has to be.
So you
that,
think
right?
it's just the 2 blood riders of 2 cows? But they weren't together, right?
No, yeah, they said they're like opposing armies now as soon as they separate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like we said last time. It's an awful job. Like, you got to be fucked up in the head to want to be a blood rider.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
So
it's also like kind of, I don't know. It would have
There's
been
a lot of
interesting.
glory there too.
It would have been interesting. It would have been interesting if all 3 of Drogo's didn't die last chapter, though. Like, what would one of them done here?
They're supposed to kill themselves,
But Drogo's not dead.
Drogo's not dead.
So like,
but it's not Cal anymore.
I know, but
There's still their blood rider.
Yeah, how's that go? It's if
That's probably George probably didn't want to write about that. That's why he's like, I'm just gonna kill them all. Like, I can't leave any of these guys alive because then I'll have to.
Yeah.
explain this.
I was like, that would be a really weird when you got like this, what we got now with Drogo. So yeah, they leave, and Dany, so she goes off. She like does not like this at all when she hears this.
Yeah, she said, I'm gonna fuck them up worse than they killed these people, and they're gonna die screaming. Is what she said.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is pretty
Who
awesome.
is it? Aga with her? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "What are you saying, dog? How are you gonna do that?"
So the promise she makes though is only for the reason I kept saying those names was she only actually says for Maego and Cal
Joko, she calls him, but he's now Cal.
Yeah,
Cal Joko,
exactly.
with 20,000 riders at his back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when Erie's like, they're all like, "Are you stupid?
You can't beat him. You have 100 old people.
Look around here. You can barely walk. Drogo's laying on the ground, staring at the sun like a sunflower.
Sunflower.
And Drogo's just baking in the sun, and he's got bugs all over him. He's not really doing anything, and she's like, "Why is he out here?" And she still doesn't know. He's a fucking vegetable.
And they're like, he likes it. He wants to be out here.
He likes the warmth, Khaleesi.
Yeah, he likes it.
His eyes follow the sun. He's like a sunflower. That's all he does. That's his thing.
He lives.
And she can tell immediately he's blind. She is pretty sure he can't really hear things, or if he can't understand them enough to respond.
Do you think he's actually blind, or you think he just like has no brain activity?
I mean,
yes,
he's probably blind now
yes.
because he's been staring at the sun.
Yeah,
he might not have been blind before.
Just looking into the sun for 3 weeks.
This whole thing, like Drogo would have actually been fine, but Jorah let him outside.
They just let him bake in this.
He was supposed to stay in a dark room for like 3 days after the ritual. Yeah,
they need to give him some of those glasses after they dilate your pupil. Old people glasses. That's what he needs.
Why do old people always wear dilated pupil glasses? I was thinking that too.
Probably because it hurts their eyes.
Because they can't see no more. They need to expand their whatever they're called. You just said it.
Pupils.
Dilate their pupils. There we go.
So Jorah's like, yeah, he can. If you lead him somewhere, you can like pretty much like walk him around, and if you put water in his mouth, he'll drink, and you can give him food and he'll eat it. But like, that's pretty much it. Like that's all he got.
He's a vegetable.
He's like one step below Bran.
It's a couple steps below Bran.
Well, I like how there were blood flies. I know you mentioned that, but like that was even like before he was dying. Like he was like
snatched him out of midair.
Yeah, it was a little callback.
That was how she knew things were bad. Was when he started letting those fall on her.
So she says to Mirri Maz Duur, "Your spells are costly," and she calls her Magi now for the first time, I think.
And she's like,
"Yeah, I think
And Mirri says, "You got what you paid for."
Yeah,
you paid for life. He's alive.
This is just like a swindler's trick. This is like, you ever see like those shows where it's like ask a genie for like 3 wishes, and it's like, oh, like bring back my dead mom, and it's just like they bring back the corpse, or like some bullshit.
Yeah,
like
it's like I know you're saying.
Oh, bring me $1 million, and it's like
it's like a technicality. There's
$1 million hairs.
Yeah, something stupid.
There's a mission in Game of Thrones, not
Game of Thrones,
and God of War like that, where they're like, "Go collect the bones of my wife, and she'll be able to come back. She'll be able to come back to life and
and she comes back as a skeleton.
Reconnect you with your wife who's dead." And she comes back as a skeleton who tries to kill you to reconnect you with your wife that way. It's like, oh, I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
I feel like we had this conversation the other day too with Joffrey, where he's like, I wasn't lying. I showed him mercy. I should have cut off the king.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
So Danny's like, this is bullshit. He used to, like, his life wasn't just life. It was laughing and meat cooking and killing people and raping girls, like all that fun stuff.
Wait,
so like,
she left those 2 parts out. I noticed that as I was reading. She's like, she left the raping and killing parts.
I wondered if she was gonna say, yeah. She says no. She said fighting. She's like she at least talked about going to fight.
She said riding.
Right. She's like riding to battle with riding to meet your enemy though.
And cooking meat over a fire.
And a rock in his hand.
That's a big part of your life. If you don't cook meat over your fire, what are you actually doing?
Well, it's the last time you cooked meat over a fire. Yeah, we're doing something. We're all doing something wrong.
So when will he be as he was? She asks. And Nelson, I know you've got this quote in your
The quote, when the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, when the seas go dry and the mountains blow in the wind like leaves, when your womb quickens again and you bear a living child, then he will return and not before.
So obviously that was the end of her womb then. Like, she can't have another kid, is what she just told her. So that would put her as the last dragon as well. You want to get back into that? Because she can have kids.
There you go.
I thought that was a pretty cool way to say never.
A bunch of cool ways to say never, and then you have any kid.
But she kind of slipped that fact in there, like he was.
Oh yeah, you're sterile.
Yeah.
So the next part, she tells everyone to leave. After they all leave, she talks straight to Miri, and she's like, "Dude, like, you really fucked me here." And she's like, "You know what you were paying for."
You knew what I was buying, and you knew the price, and you let me pay it.
It was wrong of them to burn my temple.
The heavy, flat-nosed woman said placidly.
That angered the great shepherd.
This was no God's work.
Dany said coldly. If I look back, I am lost.
You cheated me. You murdered my child within me.
The stallion who mounts the world will burn no cities now. His Khalasar shall trample no nations into dust.
I spoke for you,
she said, anguished.
I saved you.
Saved me?
The Lazarene woman spat.
3 riders had taken me, not as a man takes a woman, but from behind, as a dog takes a bitch. The 4th was in me when you rode past. How did you save me? I saw my God's house burn, where I healed good men beyond counting. My home they burned as well, and in the street I saw piles of heads. I saw the head of a baker who made my bread. I saw the head of a boy who I saved from the dead-eye fever, only 3 months past. I heard children crying as the riders drove them off with their whips. Tell me again what you saved.
Your life.
Miri Mazdor laughed cruelly.
Look to your cow and see what life is worth when all the rest is gone.
No, I mean, I think she kind of had this plan to some degree from the beginning.
So that's the big discussion. Before we get into that, before we talk about that, because that's probably going to be an argument, is if we have anybody's perspective except for Dany, right? I mean, and even Dany, if you think about it, like, Miri is the good guy. Like, she's right about everything she said. Like, she's...
about
like this is the next
the
cow
young
that's
stallion.
Gonna kill a bunch of people.
Do you think Robert hired her?
I don't know, but the only thing that's fucked up
Is
about
she
it...
an assassin?
I don't know, but the only reason it's fucked up is because...
Am I on to something?
I don't know, but since we get a point of view from Dany, and Dany's the only person who ever helped her, regardless of whether what she did was justified or not, it feels fucked up for us as a reader from a Dany POV.
To feel bad about Dany.
Dany never did anything personally wrong to Miri, and Dany seems personally the most impacted by Miri's actions. Right? No one else in the Khalasar really gives a fuck.
Yeah, right. There's a dozen Khalasars that are still going around and fucking and raping and everything like that. Nelson, I agree with you. Like, Dany's the only one that's really, other than the people that actually died.
But she's one of them though. Like, I mean, that's how Miri sees her. Like, I'm preventing this clan of people from doing this more. What I went through.
Yeah, I get you. Well, my point was just that Miri, while she seems like she's almost made out to be a bad guy, right? Everything she does.
It's definitely a point of view type deal. Like, the sheep people would be like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, you got one of them too. You know, you got their prophecy. You shot that prophecy down. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, the
other thing to what you were saying, Kyle, is people have thought of things along those lines, at least. And the big question is, how the fuck does she end up where they find her then? Like, she's literally been raped by 3 people. She's
being raped. She's in the act of being raped.
That's like the big, like, if that's a possibility, how the fuck does she get there? And, like, know that there's like a lot of, like, how the fuck do you plan that type of things? But that is a thing that people think about.
Maybe they sent her and shit just went south and then it worked out, you know? Or she's fucking some crazy magic lady. And she made things happen.
Like a crazy magic lady. She did summon shadows.
I feel like what I gave you isn't a spoiler, is all I'm going to say. Basically, after that, we get some kind of weird George R. R. Martin, 14-year-old diddling a dead vegetables wiener talk, and then
she tried. She tried everything to bring him back to life.
Didn't work. Did not work.
I mean,
her head game is nothing. She got no head game.
She's like, the ladies taught me another way to please a man.
Jorah taught her everything, yeah.
Well, doesn't she say breasts there too? Like, come on, you're 15.
Her hands, her mouth, her breasts. Yeah.
So she tries that. She tries to she just whispers. She doesn't do just creepy stuff. She whispers remember this, remember that, remember the room of the world, remember when you fucked me this time, when you fucked me that time, when you fucked me when people were watching, remember that pond we went in, remember when I ate that heart? No, nothing. Okay, I guess that's it.
You're dead. And you're dead.
And I'm gonna kill you.
Exactly.
Well, she goes into that when the seas go dry and mountains blow in the wind like leaves, and that's her accepting this. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna ever be normal.
Never.
Yeah. She gave it the good old college try.
She did give it the college try.
She gave the old high school try.
She didn't drop out of the class. She just withdrew.
And then she just pushes a cushion down on his face. Again, we don't know if he dies. It's assumed, but maybe she picks it back up.
Maybe she tucked it under his head and he just sleeps there.
Exactly.
Did you count this as a frag count for Danny?
I should, but I did not yet.
You should. It's 100% a frag count.
I mean, she killed him.
She kills him.
Does anybody get a frag count for Rhaego?
Mary Mazdor, right? Or the demon souls.
I don't know that I would count that inherently, but go for it if you want to.
I'll leave it out. The one thing that we didn't really say was when they took Miri away, Miri was smiling at Danny with a cocky smile.
Oh, take that smile off
she's
her face.
She's like, yeah, basically she's like, I can fuck you, I can take your head off. But then she's thinking to herself, this whole conversation we just had is if life doesn't mean anything, and your life, and she basically just said, my life is already as bad as Drogo's, right? Danny's like, what's the point in her death? If life's not worth anything, what's death worth?
Yeah, she's not afraid of it right now,
So yes, but Miri's still alive is kind of what I was saying. It's Danny did not kill her. So we still got her around because Kyle's saying she's magic lady.
Magic lady.
I mean, they're all saying that. They're all calling her Magi.
Yeah, I mean, she's a fucking magic lady for sure. What do you think, Kyle? Yeah, we're getting into kind of the first magic. I think we said in the last Danny chapter it was the first real magic of the book.
I mean, no, it's you don't have to keep bringing that back up every time we see magic, because then it's not that crazy anymore.
What do you mean?
We didn't really see magic in this chapter.
Well, no, we talked about that though a couple times now, where we said, "Oh, you said if it comes in, you better keep it rare or whatever."
Consistent.
We don't need to have the same conversation every time.
Yeah, you do.
All right,
I'm just saying it was just on the same lines.
Where does Danny take her 100-person Khalasar? What's the future of? I know you said she wants to lead now. What does she plan to do?
Is it up to fucking Danny?
Yeah, I mean, people are still following her. What do you mean? Everyone still is there for her.
Everyone was listening, taking her commands.
The other weird quote though is when Jogo and Rhaegar and Nago tell her who left.
Okay.
They say that they stayed because they swore a vow
to her,
to Drogo.
To her.
If they're Dothraki,
to her,
it was to Drogo to keep her safe. Was how I understood it.
I agree with that.
I don't know.
What's your point, though?
First off,
they're blood riders, though.
First off, once Drogo's dead, does this matter at all? Two, Dothraki have this thing where if you're a Khaleesi, you don't fucking just do whatever the fuck you want when your cow dies. Yeah. You go to the Dashkaleen.
But that's a where all of Drogo's blood riders are dead.
It's their duty to take her there, but that's a belief. Yeah,
but they're all dead.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so if all the fucking hearse drivers in the world die, does the body not get to the fucking cemetery?
What?
No, somebody steps.
If nobody's trained,
it's still part of the culture. The part of the culture is
to take him there.
To take
her there
too.
Yeah.
All the wives of cows go and live with the Dashkaleen when their cow dies.
Yeah.
It's the blood rider's duty to get her there, just like it's the hearse driver's duty to get the body there. But you still figure it out if they're all dead.
So this is just how I feel, Nelson, because I agree with you, right? The blood riders aren't there. Why aren't her blood riders or her handmaids be no, Khaleesi, you need to go to what the fuck's the place?
Again, like I don't know if she
Vostok
understands.
Vostok.
And again, and I think maybe the reason that wasn't the case was because she found this weird loophole where I kept my Cal alive, so I don't have to go to this place. But she like fucks that up at the end of this chapter. Like, yeah, you don't have Drogo, but you found this loophole with his like vegetable body here.
No, I feel you there. To the other point, Kyle said like everybody's scared of her after coming out of this fucking shadowy tent thing. So like, if they'd be like, "Hey, we're taking it here," she's gonna be like, "Fuck, you are." Like, I'm staying, or whatever.
Come on, Maggie, kill him for me. Bring the demon souls.
Yeah, I mean, we know what happens. My point was just that it's not 100% up to Dany, right? Like, it seems like it's almost very not up to Dany at this point.
Yes and no. I think she's the only one with any power currently. If that makes sense.
All right. So what does she do? What's her plan?
I mean, she's obviously going to try and gather all these the broken tribes is my assumption, but we'll see what happens. Like maybe not Drogo's, but like the ones that they just destroyed to some degree. I don't know how she's gonna fix that, but she's gonna band together people. Is all I know. I don't
get
know
after them
exactly.
cows. Go find fucking
sheeps.
Mago.
Get more people. I will say there's one more Dany chapter to this book.
One more Dany
chapter.
Okay.
I think every chapter from here on out is the last chapter for every person.
Yeah, this was the only repeat. This one here.
Was there 5 left? Right.
So we'll find out if your prediction is correct before we get into the next book. Yeah, 4 or 5. Yep.
All right,
cool.
All right, sounds good, Kyle. We'll see you later on the next episode, man. Hope you had a great time.
Bye.
See you later.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Cal. It was great
Bye,
hanging out,
Cal.
bud.
Bye,
We'll see you on the
Cal.
next episode for Tyrion 5. And now on to the
5?
spoiler section of Dany 9. Boys, what are your hot takes for this one? Actually, just kidding. We got a special guest here tonight, guys. Let me welcome in Kyle.
Kyle from the unspoiler section. Here we go.
It's kind of awkward. I never met you guys. It's weird.
Guys, I'm glad to be on. You know, that's what you're supposed to say.
Thanks for having me. Long time
All right, so-
listener.
Why is Kyle here?
First time caller. Kyle, what's your hot take for this episode?
Well, so like I had the theory, and I don't know if Nelson's going to edit it out or whatever, but it was hinging on a connection that I thought happened, but apparently it didn't happen. But it sounded like I might have been onto something anyway, so you guys wanted me to kind of at least just have it on tape and whatnot.
Yeah, we were just talking about some stuff after the spoiler section. Kyle thought that the dreams that
Well,
Ned
that's
kept
where I was getting
having-
into. I was getting into
Yeah,
that.
Let's just let him
explain
rap.
his own
Let's just
thoughts.
let
I just
him
wanted to
rap
make
for
sure
a
I
minute.
was fixing it. Nelson's just drunk. That's all.
Yeah, Nelson, sit away from the mic. No, stay away.
Do you need
Bad
another
Derek.
beer? Do we have to open another beer for the spoiler section? Is that the rule? What are the rules here? I haven't been here yet.
Oh, we just keep drinking.
Okay, this is the other side of the wall. I don't know what it looks like up here.
You're north of the wall.
Yeah. So where was it? Yeah. So exactly. So I thought Ned's dream with the tower and Lyanna and all that was with the red door for whatever reason. I thought that was a connection that both of those dreams or whatever. We got in that big argument for it.
Basically, what I told Kyle was that there's not really a connection there that most people think, but both of those things that you're trying to connect are important. And you just started thinking out loud, and we're like, we should be recording this.
Yeah. So I thought both doors, like I said, were red. So I was like, okay, there is a connection here. So that's where I'm coming from, I guess. But so Rhaegar and Lyanna, I mean, did he rape her? Were they in love? I mean, it seemed a little different from, I forget whose story that was that had him be kind of friendly. Whose story was it?
Somebody with Dany, I think, right?
Was it Jorah? Or anyway, somebody told a story where like he like walked past and gave his rose to Lyanna, and it was like friendly and like it.
Oh, that was just a story of a tournament that happened.
Yeah, and I feel like there was more stories that were like it wasn't quite as bad as Robert and Ned were making it out to be. So I know Ned's a good dude, but we'll get to that. So anyway, don't know Jon Snow's mom. Ned refused to talk about her. Rhaegar raped Lyanna. Maybe Jon Snow belongs to Lyanna. You know, that's part of it, I guess. Which would then also make him related to Dany, because Rhaegar is Dany's brother, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, that was kind of where I was getting at here, was that, like, this was a interweaved... This is where their stories come together and why they matter to each other more than just they live in the same world and she's threatening to come back this way. Who knows? That was really, I think, the meat of my story was that, and then I guess the rest of the meat of the story. So like Ned and the dream, and what does she keep saying to him? Don't let him do it or something.
Promise me.
Promise me you'll watch my son. Right, so that fits into it, and then
so you're saying a lot of good stuff. I'm just gonna say you haven't used the connection with the Red Door at all. So everything you've said has been good,
but the Red Door connects the families. It's Rhaegar.
Well, Rhaegar connects the families.
I know, but Dany and Ned are having the same dream about the same place. That's what I'm getting at, and that's why. And like, why do they keep having this dream, and like the same location, and that was where Ned was outside of, or whatever, the tower of this building with the red door. But then you said that's in Bravos, which is across the world. So I guess that kind of changed. Like I said, it fell apart. That's why I didn't really want to mention it before. But you wanted me to have it on tape. So. And then the other side of that was maybe Lyanna and Bobby weren't quite as in love as Bobby B thought. And that, like, that was also part of this. And Ned was, like, because he was his best friend, was, like, feeding him lies. Like, oh, yeah, you guys were going to get married. And, you know, like...
Well, they were promised to each other.
They were promised to each other, and we know Robert was in love. But
Robert was definitely in love.
You're getting to a good point that love isn't always a two-way street.
Yeah.
And we don't know how far that went, but they were promised to each other, and Robert definitely had some big affection.
Yeah, and I don't doubt it. And that's kind of why he was so mad about it. That would also be why he hates the Targaryens so much and wanted to kill Dany.
For sure.
I mean, I don't know. It just kind of tied a lot of the story together, but it's weird because it still does, but it's
well, I mean,
based on...
you're really right. Without Lyanna, Robert never becomes king. You know what I mean? Like, the story doesn't happen without Lyanna.
We don't need to get into that. I think that might...
That's just basic timeline, cause and effect.
Fair enough.
Lyanna gets taken, Rob gets mad and starts a war.
You're right. The war, a war starts because of the whole Lyanna thing, and then the outcome of the war results in a new king. Right. I guess there was theoretically there was no need for the war to go that far to where you literally overthrow the entire establishment. You could have just got Lyanna back, but that's where the war did go, is Robert's new king.
But so, she was dying, right? That was the thing, though. They couldn't get her back because she died or was dying.
She died by the time Robert became king before she died.
Oh, did she?
Right, because Robert becomes Ned goes to King's Landing, and then in Ned's dream, at least Ned goes to see Lyanna. So Ned goes to King's Landing after the battle.
But Robert's at the Trident.
Robert gets hurt at the Trident. Robert kills Rhaegar at the Trident, gets hurt. So Ned goes to King's Landing for him. When he gets there, the Lannisters have already taken over the city.
Right.
And then Robert gets there.
Technically,
and Ned goes to where the dream, basically, is the proposed timeline. So I think you said a lot of good stuff, Kyle. We're not going to give you any more, obviously.
To the point of what we're going to do for the next 4 books. We're not going to say anything.
I think also it's going to be really surprising to our fans that anything like this came out of this chapter, because, like you said, I think you said a lot of stuff that was right that I think kind of came out of nowhere based on like a false connection, a fake connection that you made in your head. But whatever, it's so cool.
Yeah, and you always get one question mark too, so you can always throw that down.
What do you mean by that?
It was just a joke.
Math
Me and Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you say joke, but not really.
It's really a way of life for me.
Just on any math test, you can literally just throw up a single question mark. Like
you got one question mark.
Like, I don't fucking know what the fuck you're talking about. I'll take the 90.
You can always pop one question mark on a test.
Like, as long as you're confident on all the other ones, you can just fucking I don't have any idea what the hell you're saying on this. We took some hard math classes.
It's too funny. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just
But yeah, I don't want to drag it out, or else I just feel like it's
Yeah.
awkward.
No, I
It's
think
like
Kyle
spoiling.
did his due diligence.
Let's get the fuck out of here. We're not gonna do anything. Just Kyle, stop recording and leave and say bye.
And we'll talk.
All right,
Bye,
later
Kyle.
again, guys.
Bye, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle.
See you later, Cal. Again. We'll see you on the next time. Again. For Tyrion 5. Again. Now
Bye,
on the spoiler
Cal.
section, the real time. Boys, what are your hot takes for this one?
This is gonna be the worst edit ever.
It's just gonna be Glow. Glow's gonna fuck it up for you, but
Wow. First off,
Great job, Cal.
wow. Did I give him too much? Was I bad there?
no, I
I
think
don't
you're
think
fine.
you gave him much at all.
Just by saying like you're saying good stuff, but the connection just isn't right at all. Is there first
Yeah,
off? There's
I
no
mean, is there a
connection
red
there, right? Am I
door?
crazy?
Is there a red
I
door
don't
on the
remember
tower?
I don't
ever
think
talking
there's
about the red
anything
door.
red. If there was, we definitely would have known. We definitely. There's
Yeah,
no way
there's
I
no
missed
way.
that.
Here's the other
Yeah.
thing. Like, Kyle's not a
Reddit would've
stupid
brought it up.
guy. Like, he knows about the show. He knows about season 8. He knows John. He has to, right?
I don't know.
From the show, he thinks John's a Targaryen.
I don't
I think
know.
it's
I don't know
like,
if he knows that.
You think he's in faking not knowing that the entire time, and then just decide.
come
now?
on. He saw Dany burn down fucking King's Landing.
Yeah,
How
but
do you
I don't
not
think he
know?
knows John is a Targaryen. He probably heard it and just it didn't register with him. Like he doesn't know the difference. You know, remember the first time you watched Game of Thrones and how many names they threw at you? Imagine
Sure,
walking in
but
season 8.
Kyle's coming in with a certain group of spoilers. Ned died. Dany burned down King's Landing with dragons.
Arya kills. So yeah.
And
So what we
Tyrion's
know.
alive towards the end.
A lot of this shit is like that. Like we don't know if it's even true. Like Arya kills Night King. Dany burns down King's Landing. Bran becomes King's probably true. But like
I don't know
it
if he
doesn't
knows
matter.
that though. He didn't really watch the show that much.
He said he watched episode 3. He said he
Yeah.
watched all of episode 3 and at least some of the other ones. I don't know. If it was organic and like wasn't holding out and like fakiness, which I think is probably a possibility. I think it's
he just
interesting.
pulled out the biggest spoiler of the fucking books from a Dany chapter about fucking a dragon dream.
No, it is weird though. Like her dream. Okay, like if you just piece her, I understand where it comes from though.
If you read it
somehow
this
tie-
carefully, man, the first time through, you should be able to
Yeah,
pick this
and
up.
if you somehow like,
But not John.
we obviously said Danny's dreams are or Danny's. I think we probably can. I think we have conveyed to Kyle Danny's dreams are important. Ned's dreams are important, right? And then
I mean, in your case, all dreams are important.
that's not true, but
Most.
yeah.
Three-eyed raven or dream
90,
candle. It's
95.
like 98% of your fucking theories and spoilers are about dreams.
Well, they don't. The thing is, there's a lot of dreams that don't happen. They just don't write. There's a lot of dreams that they have that they just don't write because they're not important. George only writes the important dreams. That's the thing. Not all dreams are important, but he only writes the important ones. Okay, so you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Anyway, good job. I think good job by Kyle. Either way, whether
Good
he
job,
was
Cal.
faking. If you were faking it, you're
a piece of shit.
I think you played it well for the fans, but I feel like he wasn't faking it.
So where do we think his head's at right now that John's is Targaryen? And like kind of like the show. Really?
Thing is, even if he thinks that, I still think he's wrong.
Right. You think Danny's their child and he's
I think it's smart
another
that
child.
I think it's cool that he's thinking about stuff like that, though.
Right, but that's the show's spoiler. That's the only thing I'm saying. Like I never would have thought that. Reading this the first time, I don't care if you gave me a magnifying glass and I read it fucking one word at a time. There's no way I'm coming up with that from
Jeff,
this chapter.
This is your second read through, and you still don't even know what the series is called.
That is very
I think
true.
Game of Thrones.
There's a difference between you and Kyle.
I'm a show fan. Okay.
We're all show fans. Okay. The thing is, I was listening.
I'm a show fan. I'm more of a book fan though.
I think the book's great. I mean, I like to read too.
All right. What do we want about the dream?
All right.
I have a few things about the dream.
My big thing about the dream was, why is Jorah fading away into a ghost?
I don't have an answer for that.
But it's just kind of weird. Like, is he gonna fade away because he? At some point, they tell him to fuck off, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he tries to bring
But he
Tyrion
brings
back,
Tyrion.
and then he fights for her, and then she flies
And-
off.
That's again in the fucking show. I don't know if that's in the books.
That's true. That's true.
No,
Does he bring Tyrion back?
No. Stop. Stop. He gets Tyrion. Goes right about that, but not that she flies. Well, she does fly off, but Tyrion's not there when she flies off. Tyrion and Jorah are both still slaves in Brown Ben.
Right, in the army.
They were slaves. Then the Bloody Flux came and fucked up everybody.
Right.
And they escaped as soon. So their master caught the Bloody Flux.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrion and Jorah escape and run to Brown Ben Plum, who defected from Dany and joined the sellsword companies who are fighting against Dany. And now Tyrion's like, hey, help me. And he basically said, like, I'll give you everything in Westeros if you make me not a slave. Like, you have nothing to lose. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Signs in his own blood, I think. And now they're basically, they're not slaves, but they're him and Jorah and Penny are all sellswords to Brown Ben Plum. Some of it, I might now be getting into some Winds of Winter stuff. But pretty much, he's playing side-ass with Brown Ben Plum, trying to convince him to turn back over to Dany's side. Is where we leave Tyrion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that.
I think I actually read that chapter.
It's kind of implied that that's Tyrion's plan the whole time. Whether he starts enacting it or not, that's like implied his plan.
My whole point was like, is it because Jorah's not going to be there? Like, at some point, she's going to tell him to fuck off. You know, is that why he's becoming a ghost?
So she did, but in the books, he just hasn't got back to her yet.
Right.
So we don't know what's going to happen when she might just be like, "You're dead now."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What if he brings Tyrion and she just fucking like, no, I told you not to come back.
Tyrion is way darker in the books. Like, he is not a happy-go-lucky guy. He hates the world. He is kind of gonna like when the way I see the Tyrion Dany interaction happening in the books is he is part of the reason she burns everything down. He's like, yeah, fuck all of them. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Like, what was the last thing he said in his trial?
It's been a long time.
In his trial, he literally says, like, I wish I had enough poison to kill all of you. Yeah. And then in the show, they just make him go over there and he's happy. But no, in the books, he goes over there and he, like, throws up on a hooker and rapes her. Like,
so, I just watched it. So,
he's a horrible
he's a horrible dude. He's ready to die in the show. And then it's like, oh, Dany, like, saves him. Like, the hope of Dany saves him. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, oh, I'm just going to drink myself to a death. He said that a couple times.
A lot of people think that if the books are going to end up the way the show did, it's because Tyrion's the difference. Tyrion's going to be more of a push for Dany to go crazy because fuck Westeros.
The other thing is, like, Barristan might not be dead in the book.
He's not dead in the book. He's riding out to fight. Even in the last Winds of Winter chapter we have, he's riding out to fight Tyrion. Like the last Winds of Winter chapter that
he's leading the army.
Tyrion's riding this way, Barristan is riding this way. They're literally riding towards each other.
All right, what if Barristan dies in that battle?
He can. I hope he doesn't. But he can.
So I'm just saying, like, he might die at some point. Which
there's some foreshadowing that I'll say that there's some foreshadowing that he will.
He will die.
There's some foreshadowing there.
I haven't read any of the Winds of Winter, so I'm just saying, like Barristan could be like the good angel on her shoulder, and obviously Tyrion could be the devil. To your point, with Jorah not being there at all, like where does Jorah play in? So I just think it was something. It was weird that he was fading away.
There's so many other actors in Meereen between like the shave pates and like all that stuff. Like you don't need Jorah there. Like I don't think Jorah. I'm not saying that I don't think Jorah will be accepted back. I think it's a possibility. I don't think you need him though. There's so many other characters.
I mean, I don't think his storyline is just come back to Meereen and her say "fuck off" again.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't make any sense. But
that ain't how it happens.
But him fading away, I think, leads to the first disloyalty of him being a spy on her in the first place. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, what? Anything else in the dream, Jeff?
I just had we talked enough about the Red Door. The bigger thing I think I had is the howling death. Like, death was howling behind her. We know one animal that actually howls, and that's a wolf.
This is a great point that I didn't think.
I never thought of that. Oh.
So you want to read that, Jeff?
Yep. The Red Door was so far ahead of her, and she could feel the icy breath behind, sweeping up on her. If it caught her, she would die a death that was more than a death. Howling forever alone in the darkness, she began to run.
So does this sound like any place you guys know? She was walking down a long hall beneath high stone arches.
The crypts of Winterfell?
This might be the crypts, right?
Stone arches? Long stone arch. How big is the fucking crypt? It's not that tall.
I mean, it doesn't say stone arches, does it?
Yeah, that's the first thing. She was walking down a long hall beneath high stone arches. She did not look behind her and myself.
Right.
There was a door ahead of her, tiny with distance.
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I thought like potentially maybe it seems a little bit like the crypts.
I think
she was walking.
I think it's saying like howling behind her. Like what? Like, if we're gonna pick through this shit, like that's a wolf, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's definitely a wolf, and that's where I got the crypts connection. It was like this is like maybe the crypts. Did Danny end up in the crypts or something?
So why would she be in the crypts though? Like to your point, she's not Lyanna's kid.
There's a bunch of weird shit in here that I feel like connects to like has to connect to stuff, but I have no idea how. The next one that I have is Rhaegar. What happens to Rhaegar? You said it, Jeffy.
A burning heart.
Burning heart. Do we know anybody that has is a burning heart a thing that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's Stannis' sigil.
Stannis, like, but how does this have anything to do with Stannis? I don't know, but it's like obviously, it seems obviously related to that. The way that they describe it, like a burning heart. Like, what are you talking about? That's Stannis.
Yeah.
But I have no idea how it relates. And then the last one is maybe a little closer. The last one that I have is all the ghosts with the pale swords. It's like Lightbringer Dawn type deal.
Oh, I just thought that was like the history of the Targaryens. I thought that was just all the Targaryens.
Well, yeah, their colors, but they say that they're wielding swords of pale fire that shimmer like the moonlight or something. They like it kind of gave like both a Lightbringer and a Dawn description at the same time, which was like one of the things that makes me think that they're the same sword.
Yeah.
In their hands were swords of pale fire.
Pale fire.
They're just all holding Lightbringer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glo, do you have anything from the dream?
Coming back to what Kyle was talking about, astral planes, kind of. If this is a true prophecy dream or a forced dream, then there's two ways of looking at it.
So it's forced by it has to be forced by Quaithe. Forced by Quaithe, not by Miriam's door.
All right, so we don't even know who the fuck Quaithe is. We don't even know who Quaithe is.
So, but he's totally wrong on the astral plane bullshit because this is he's right that it's a forced dream, but it's not forced by Miri. It's forced by Quaithe. Total misdirect by George. Good job.
I was so angry that we were calling this fucking astro plane.
Everything always equates Quaithe to like stars and stuff like that. And there's so many references to that in this chapter. Like the stars. Like the stars.
We don't even know who Quaithe is right now. So how can
I know.
But at some
later.
Point, okay.
George knows. So later he's like setting it up. Like later, like Quaithe is like the whispering to the star. Like Lily, like when her dream is over, the last thing she remembers is the pain in her legs, the fire in her womb, and the whispering of the stars. Like Quaithe is literally
but not her baby.
Quaithe is literally equated to like star. Like I forget exactly what it is, but it's something about stars later. And then like when she wants to have sex with Drogo, because she's a freaking weirdo. She thinks about the first time they had sex or when she had sex in front of the whole Khazar or whatever, and how the moon was out and there was a stream running by. And she's like, there's no moon tonight and there's no the sound of the stream or the wind blowing through the trees, but the stars will be enough. Like everything's like there's like 3 or 4 references about the stars in this chapter. Yeah. It just, to me, just screams Quaithe all over the place.
Does Quaithe come to her like the next couple times? Like, I mean, if so,
she comes to her in the next chapter in Clash of Kings.
But that's not with the stars out. You know what I mean? I'm saying, like,
I forget
when exactly she's in Marine, right? When she's in Marine, she comes in like the pool with her, right?
Yeah. I forget exactly what it is that equates to the stars, but I know there's like she calls herself like the mistress of the stars. There's something weird that equates her to the stars.
I don't know anything about Quaithe, so
no facts. Not listening. All right, so what I was going with, if it was a true prophecy dream, I would believe you that Jon Snow is not a Targaryen because of the fact it kept saying Last Dragon and pointed to her face. That's the only. If it was a true prophecy dream, then yes, she would be the last dragon. Jon's not a Targaryen. However, if it's a forced dream by Quaithe may not know Jon Snow is a Targaryen, hence why she still says the last dragon, even though there's still another dragon running around, and a fake dragon that she doesn't really know about either.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the third part is, if it's a forced dream, Quaithe wants her to not remorse as much, so that's why she kind of forgets about her baby. But she's trying to take it out of her mind. She even says, like, if I look back, I'm lost. I can't think about my baby.
She looks back on Drogo. She looks back on Drogo, though.
Yeah, but she kills him.
So, when this is from the wiki. When Daenerys is wandering, lost at the end of the dance in the Dothraki Sea, she sleeps into a restless sleep and hears Quaith's original instructions. Then she sees Quaith, whose mask is made of starlight, and the stars whisper in a woman's voice. Remember who you are, Daenerys. The dragons know, do you? So people think that there's like this connection between Quaith and stars because that's how she, like Dany,
how she
makes that connection to Dance with Dragons. So now in this chapter, it makes.
Do you think it's more moonlight than just how we know of?
So everyone always thinks glass candles is moonlight because they think that they think that there's like some like actual physical phenomenon where the moon acts as a satellite and bounces like light bounces some type of something ray whatever off of the moon. It doesn't really make sense to do that with stars, so I don't know. But if we go back to it's just all magic, then sure.
So just for me watching the shows again, I forgot that the birth of the dragons brought back the magic into the realm, right? Which is like, I guess the warlocks will say that, right? They said it in the show.
A bunch of people say that, yeah.
Like once the dragons are...
Well, we see it all over the place, but yeah, the warlocks probably definitely say it outright.
Right. So, Kyle's... To the point we've said, like, he wants it to be constant. Well, the dragons coming back just kind of throw a whole wrench into that.
Exactly. And he said, like, I want you to stop pointing this out. Well, the reason I pointed it out the first time was because eventually somebody does say dragons coming back into the world brings more magic. Right. And I wanted to be able to tell Kyle at that point, like, hey, remember when I said this? Yeah. This is why
it's kind of weird that he didn't bring up anything about the eggs hatching next chapter.
Yeah, that's weird. But he... yeah, that is weird.
That is kind of weird.
That's the thing. Is like I even tried to lead him on by saying like, "Hey, there's another Dany chapter this book," but yeah, nothing.
But my whole point with Quaith is like, and I didn't pay enough attention to Quaith the first read through. I probably forgot who even she was.
If she has any motives, they're unknown, completely unknown. Yeah. You have no idea why she's doing what she's doing.
Why does she give a fuck?
If
it's for magic, she got it already. The dragons are alive.
Again, there's a few weird theories that Quaith is like a Shara Dane. And Dany is somehow that baby, and so like it's like Quaith looking out for her own child. Again, I don't really subscribe to that, but there's like weird theories where Quaith is somebody lost, like long lost from Westeros.
All right, I got another note outside of the dream. You ready?
Go ahead.
The shadows touched Jorah. They fucked his ass up, and we kind of talked about it in the non-spoilers, like when he did the shadows change Jorah at all.
That's the thing is I don't know. Like if so, I feel like we haven't seen too much of it throughout the rest of the the rest of the books. And if so, like why doesn't it affect Dany the same way? Because Dany was in the tent just as much as he was.
Maybe his soul is fading.
Yeah, I've got I really just have rhetorical questions going forward. Like I don't have any answers for him. I don't know if there are any answers. Like shadows had to have touched him, right? Like he's different. Like they've mentioned it. We mentioned it. He looks different. He's kind of acting squirrely.
It's weird. Like when I read this chapter, I'm like, I was like, it's weird that Jorah hasn't said, like, we haven't heard Jorah say anything in the later chapters where he just like in passing or something says to Dany, like, when we were in that tent, there was some shit going on or like something like that. Right. Like,
yeah,
like nothing about it. It's like, it just never happened for them. Again, I'm sure like there's a lot of interactions between them off screen, off page or whatever, or what you want to say. But yeah, it's weird for sure.
My last one was, and we talked a bunch about this in the non-spoiler, what if she stayed outside? And it really just kind of opened me up to, that baby was meant to come inside. Like that baby was fucking dead. It didn't matter.
So I just don't know if the baby needed to be in there. That's my only thing.
So listen, it's like so here's the thing, Hodor, right? Here's the Hodor thing. It's like that's the type of time. So here it's the whole like I don't know what you want to call it, time travel paradox, like prophecy type shit. But when we live in a world where Hodor is predestined to become Hodor because he holds a door in the future, then Dany can definitely be predestined to go into a tent.
Sure.
So what I was saying to Kyle, where like the baby dies either way, it doesn't matter. death for life. I don't believe in that because I think what you guys are saying is right. Dany was going to go into the tent, and I think she was no matter what for the same reason Hodor is Hodor. Because this is like a set, like you can't change anything. It's set. It's predestined. You can't change anything.
Right.
Or at least that's what we're being led to believe. Maybe there's some that's the huge reveal at the end. I had some more stuff. So, Glow, you're gonna like this one. When she wakes the first time, they give her something thick and bitter. And when they went the second time, she asked for water.
It was
and
nice
Miri
and
comes
sweet.
in and gives her sweet wine.
And it made her pass out right away.
Double sweet wine, and she passed out right away. And she says it was, and she's like, when she reached for the cup of water, the cup that Miri gave her was just sweet wine. So literally, Miri's giving her a cup of sweet wine right before she's about to drop all these fucking bombs on her. I feel that's a huge.
Yeah, that's I didn't even catch that, and that's my cue too. Is a sweet. I'm an idiot. You beat me to it.
So this next thing was something I already told Jeff about. I've already talked to Jeff about, and you might know this, Glo, because have you watched any George R. R. Martin interviews?
I've read like about a couple.
So she makes this vow in this chapter
to
go destroy Mago
and
Jago.
Jago, yeah.
Jago. And George, people are like, when is Dany gonna get to Westeros and stuff like that? People have asked him this stuff in all kinds of interviews, and he always says like, I wouldn't count on it being anytime soon. She has so much left to do in Essos. She still has to seek revenge on Mago and Jogo. Like, this is something that people always forget that Dany cares about, but like, this is something that she has not forgotten about, and George has not forgotten about, and these people are gonna get what's coming to them, probably pretty early into the Winds of Winter, considering where Dany is.
It's probably gonna be similar to the show, actually, and
potentially, yeah.
She's got an Arya list.
In the show, the people who captured her don't know who she is at all.
Right. Oh, so we leave the books with her being captured by the Khalasar.
Yeah, but she has Drogon, so people don't know if like the Dothraki. People think people think that in the books the Dothraki are just gonna immediately
get burned to a crisp.
No, they're gonna be like, "Yo, she's the best fucking horse rider there is. She's riding a dragon."
They have the best horse, exactly. She has the fucking flying horse that breathes fire. She's the best.
So she doesn't have to burn down
exactly. Like basically everyone. Some people think that she's just as fucked as she was in the show. Because you're right. We're basically where we left her.
Dude, I'm literally just watched that episode.
Where we left her, she's surrounded by Dothraki in the books, in both. But in the books, she has Drogon, I think.
Yeah,
I don't recall. Yeah, he's like sleeping next to her, injured.
Like, I think he's like awake next to her. Like,
yeah,
she's maybe
like he just came back like eating a sheep or something.
Yeah, I think they're together. So like some people think like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a problem, but some people think like they're just gonna be like, yeah, you're in charge now, like immediately.
Yeah, what would they do? Fucking
even Rhaegar, where somebody says in this, they're like, yeah, they took the herds, they took all your slaves. It's the right of the strong to take from the weak. Like one of the guys was just like, yeah, everything they did was cool. It's just like how it goes.
Yeah.
But this is something that, whether all the fans have forgotten or not, George has not forgotten that Dany is going to fuck up Mago and Jago before she goes back to Westeros.
I mean, to that point, she still needs more of an army. Like, she doesn't have that big of an unsullied army to go overseas. Like, she needs more people. So, like, to that point, maybe she does just burn fucking Mago.
So
with Drogon.
Jeff, I know it's been a while, but we got Tyrion with 12 sellsword companies outside the walls. Tyrion's and probably at least one or two more are going to defect.
Okay.
We also have Victarion. He has like 100. Yeah, he has like 100 Greyjoy ships pulling into the Marine Bay.
Right. I remember that.
In the Winds of Winter chapters, Tyrion sees the ships.
Right.
But I have a few more things. One, we didn't talk about the quote, that when the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, when the seas go dry and the mountains blow and the wind like leaves, when your womb quickens again, you bear a living child.
We talked about this before.
I think it's lame as fuck if she can have a kid.
Why? People think all these things are happening. There's proof that all these things are happening.
The red comet's the sun in the west?
No, the sun in the west is the I can't think of their names.
The Dornish. Aegon coming
Dornish,
over.
yeah.
Martell.
So Aegon coming over from the west is
Quentin. Quentin comes from the west and dies with Dany in the east, and their sigil is the sun and spear. Right?
He gets burnt by the dragon.
Yep.
All right, what's the next one?
The mountains or the seas go dry, and the mountains blow, and the seas go dry.
I don't know what that one is.
The Greyjoys die?
When Dany is with so people
Kraken.
think that. So some people have said that the Greyjoys are trying to expand onto mainland and stop going against the seas, but most people think that this one is when in some of the last Dany chapters when she's out in the middle of nowhere in the Dothraki Sea with Drogon, he's scorched a lot of it, just like burned a lot of the Dothraki Sea, and parts that he haven't burned are kind of in a drought and like going dry. So the Dothraki Sea is going dry.
Okay. And the mountains float like leaves. The mountain's gonna die.
Yeah, but that's such a shitty analogy.
Another one is that some other people say that the pyramids of Marine are destroyed. At the beginning at the same time that Dany's out and there's like 12 catapults being thrown. They're throwing mostly dead bodies to try and spread the pale mare, but there are descriptions that parts of the Marinese pyramids are being thrown around like the city.
So I like that analogy way better than the mountain dying.
I think if the mountain got
everything
catapult,
at this point's been in Essos right now.
That's the whole thing about prophecies too, is like the part of prophecies, if you make them vague enough, you can fit anything to them. So again, I'm not saying I believe in this, but people say that there's shit for all of these things. Those are the things, right? The next one is your womb quickens, you bear a living child. So and in the last Dany, in the last Dany chapter again. So all of some of the things that I'm saying are happening at the same time, right? Like the leaves, the mountains falling in the leaves. If that is the Marinese pyramids, and if it is the seas go dry, as the Dothraki Sea getting burned by Drogon, all that's happening at the same time. And the next one is your womb quickens again. Dany is eating some nasty berries and thinks it causes her to.
She has her period,
but she has a period, and she thinks she's like poisoned or has something fucked up. But all of these things are happening at the same time. So that's what some of these people think that. So what the fuck does this mean? Does that mean that she's
about to go bang Jon Snow?
Well, no, Drogon. Well, no, this says Drogo comes back,
and it says Drogo comes back to her. You'll see Drogo again. So
do we have
I guess
a dragon named? Do we have a dragon named after anybody who Dany is like really getting connected to around the same time?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Drogon.
That's what people think. That's
Drogo just pops in the Drogon.
Well, that's what
What's
she
that
named
called?
him after, right?
Fuck, why can't I can't think
Warging?
of it. Yeah. Drogo reverse warged back in time into Drogon.
Like a lot of the theory says it's not even that close, right? It's just like this is where Dany again, it might just be more symbolism. This is where Dany becomes able to ride Drogon, like, and control him. Type.
Want her to go.
All these things are happening.
Yeah.
I want her to go bang Jon Snow
control.
and have a kid.
I don't.
Like she did Drogo, right?
I'd rather her marry Rhaegon.
Nah, fuck Rhaegon.
Unite the Blackfires and Targaryens once again.
But Dany literally rode Drogo out in front of the Khalazar.
No, I agree with you. That's a good idea. It's riding and riding.
And now, so she rode Drogo in front of the Khalazar, and that's when she got respect from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, the last chapter in Dance, she's riding Drogon in front of a Khalazar.
I gotcha. I'm picking up everything you're putting down. I actually think it's one of the better things you've actually brought to us.
This is a really good one, yeah.
I don't know if
what you're
still
showing, dude.
This is one of the ones that I'm not even sure if I'm full on. I think it might go a lot like the show did where she gets captured, but I think
I'm
cool.
way more on this
what
one
you're
than
cooking, dude.
anything you've ever said.
I'm drinking what you're pouring. I'm flushing what you're shitting.
So how about, I'm going to read another quote for you guys, and I want to see what you guys think about it. Dany called out for the men of her cause and bid them to take Miriam's door and bind her hand and foot. But the mages smiled as they carried her off, as if they shared a secret. A word and Dany could have her head off. Yet then what would she have? A head? If a life is worthless, what was a death?
The only thing I thought about that was that life paid for death. So she was going to use that life to pay for the dragons coming back.
Bingo. That's it. Like, if she has her head off now,
she doesn't get
Game
the
over.
dragons.
How the fuck did she get her dragons?
Right.
Her thought here is, if life is worthless, what's the point in death? And her conclusion is death is more valuable than life. I can get more from her death.
Yeah. She's at this point, like, I'm going to put her on the pyre and I'm taking these eggs.
I don't even know if she's connected that, but just like the thoughts that she is having here definitely reflect.
She's going to get there at some point.
She wants some payment out of this death.
It reflects the importance of Mirri Maz Duur's death. It reflects that is more important than her life.
So real quick,
it is, right?
I
Only
want to get
two
really
people
freaky
die.
afterglow too.
Yeah, only 2 people die in that pyre, whatever it's called, right? Mirri Maz Duur, no, and Drogo's already
dead. So where's the other 2 lives coming from? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, but if Drogo's death already contributes to the dragons, then I guess Rhaego's death already
Drogo,
contributes.
Rhaego, and Mirri Maz Duur.
But it's
maybe.
weird because Rhaego's life already paid for Drogo's life.
And did Dany need to be in the pyre? Like, what's the point of Dany being in there?
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll get into all this next chapter. I don't know if I have answers for it, but I haven't done the research on it yet.
All right, I just want to get really freaky quick.
Get freaky, dog.
So just really quick on the gods, right? And the red god, because the red god is really the many-faced god, I guess. And then you got the fire god.
I don't know if I believe that first statement. I think. What do you mean?
I actually did
You said red and fire are different?
Yeah, Jack and Hagar calls the god the red god, the many-faced god the red god. And
in the show or in the books?
In the show.
And
I did some Google on this too.
Okay.
And then Melisandre never calls him the red god. She just calls him the fire god or
fire
whatever.
Lord Ozai.
Like the fire Lord takes R'hllor takes sacrifices. Like that's kind of Melisandre's whole deal, right? They burn the septons. They burn, like, is the dragons part of the fire gods type deal?
100% R'hllor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the dragons are a part of R'hllor.
I mean, Melisandre's magic gets better. I mean, all magic gets better, but like it seems like when Tyrion goes to Volantis, we get way more of like the actual Red Temple and like how there's like crazy people with like flames painted on their face and like all these servants of the Red God, and they're all about.
Wait, are you saying the Red God is actually the fire, the Red Priest?
Whatever, the R'hllor people. Maybe I'm calling them red and I shouldn't be.
The Red Priestesses and priests.
The Red Priestesses,
yeah, because Jack and Hagar calls the many-faced god the Red God in the show.
I think that's a mistake in the show.
Yeah, I don't.
Last thing I said I want to talk about was the dragon demon baby.
That baby was a fucking demon. That baby was a demon.
Kyle does not think this was a demon baby. I'm 100% pretty positive it was, and I think if anything, it potentially points.
Well, you said in one of the later or previous chapters that Targaryens do have deformed babies, but this one had maggots in its stomach and shit. Yep.
So every time a Targaryen has had a weird deformed stillbirth baby that had dragon features, there's also like a suspected or like verified poisoning of the mother during pregnancy. So the examples are Maegor the Cruel had 3 different wives. Basically, he was just killing them all as they didn't produce worthy heirs. Banged one. Also, one of them, I'm pretty sure, was named Jane Westerling. The wives of Maegor the Cruel were Alice Haraway. She was the first woman to become pregnant with the king in the year 48 AC, but she lost the babe soon after. When expelled from her womb was a monstrosity, eyeless and twisted. Then the next one was Eleanor Costain. She too became pregnant, and like Alice before her, she gave birth to a stillborn abomination said to have been born eyeless with small wings. And then Jean Westerling, not Jane, Jean. And from her womb came another stillborn monster. So then there was during that time, there was like a Varys. Again, this is all from Fire and Blood, the prehistory book. During that time, so it's not as nearly in depth as Game of Thrones. We just get like an overall. During that time, there was like a Varys type character, Taina, who again I think it was under torture, admitted to poisoning all of the mothers.
She eventually confessed her responsibility for the abominations that were born of Maegor's seed, claiming she had poisoned his other brides. So who knows? Then we get this Dany one, but then there's another one, Rhaenyra, who's one of the big players in the Dance of the Dragons. Again, without getting too far into it. After she has her stillbirth, she claims, she was my only daughter and they killed her. They stole my crown and murdered my daughter and they will answer for it. So basically when she says they killed her, people take that to assume that because she had this monstrous kid and they're saying they killed her, she's assuming someone poisoned her. Right. So in both cases, one, we literally have a potentially admitted truthful poisoning of the mothers. And the other one, we have the mother claiming she was poisoned. So, and now we have Dany, who has the same outcome.
At what point was she poisoned?
Did Miri poison her? Like, a bunch of people probably could have poisoned her. What again? And is poisoning even in it? It just seems weird that any other instance of this. Again, and maybe I'm missing an instance of a dragon baby. But any instance I've found seems to also be tied to at least a potential poisoning. You know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. I mean, she was almost poisoned. But
in either case, I think Kyle's wrong when Kyle says that he thinks this was a lie.
No, that shit was a fucking demon.
This was definitely weird. But when she says it was dead for years,
a
that's
handmaiden had to have seen it. Maybe right afterwards or something.
Other people had to have seen it, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I mean,
dude, I mean, it's just weird.
So when we said that, though, what did Kyle say? When we said somebody else had seen it, what did Kyle say?
She threw it right in the fire or something.
In a fire. Isn't that the most, like, fucking R'hllor shit you've ever heard? That's fucking King's blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that
Dancing with Shadows.
Dancing with Shadows. Melisandre says
it's
shadows.
It's all R'hllor shit.
And yeah, it's all fucking R'hllor shit. Melisandre always says, like, where you don't have shadows without the light.
Yeah.
And the brightest
Mary
lights
here
can't
says
black out the shadows.
How about Kyle just saying that Myrmidon was Rob's fucking assassin
Robert
too?
Center. Yeah. I mean, again, big theories, but he's getting on to stuff that we already talked about, but it's hard to prove it. It's hard to prove any of it, but it's like, it's good that he's thinking about all that stuff.
I mean, that was a really good point he brought up. I really like that one. He's most likely wrong, but it was a really good point.
He had a good day.
He started listening to some of our spoiler sections.
He might have.
All right. We've been going long enough. Let's call it.
All right,
boys. Good hanging out. We'll see you on the next episode for Tyrion 5. Have a wonderful evening.
It's definitely not Tyrion 5. It's probably like Tyrion like 9 or 10. But okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.